Why are so many of us unfulfilled?
Compared to the time, the maybe 19th century, 18th century and before, today we have far more options to pursue than before. And at the same time, our mode of consciousness remains the same. So, you have expectations of yourself and expectation from other people. So we have so much more expectations on us than ever before. And when you have expectations, you are setting up a trap to be disappointed. So one of the reasons why people are so unfulfilled is because of the load of expectations that they carry upon their shoulder. And also the load of expectations that you place upon others, especially your children and others. And expect to look out. Yes? Spect is to look and X is out, which is opposite of inspect. So expectation is looking out. For what? For fulfillment outside.
Looking for something external to fulfill
Yes.
you.
Because there are so many things outside today, they expect to be satisfied, stimulated, and fulfilled by those things that are outside. And we are talking about ego. Ego's preoccupation with occupying itself with something. Expectation or the trying to fulfill one's expectation is another of those occupations. As I said, ego has no self-existence. It requires others for its existence. And one of the ways it requires others for its existence is to get their approval, their appreciation, admiration, adoration. And just like drug addict who is addicted to the high that they get from drug, people are addicted to the high that they experience when somebody say, wow, you are great. Or actually meeting some standard that people set for you. So because of the enormous array of expectation fulfillment opportunities, proportionally, people are much more unfulfilled and disappointed with their lives. So we must shift our lives from expectation to something else. Because expectation will be usually 99% of the time lead to disappointment. Even if you fulfill one expectation, there are so many more you have to fulfill. So, following the conversation we had about ego, so living a life of expectation is a egological mode of living. It is inauthentic and doomed to disappointment and unfulfillment. And when you shift from this inauthentic mode of living to authentic mode of living, which is to come from your authentic self, your true self, real self, this eternally present self. In place of expectation, what you have is commitment. And commitment is self-generated, whereas expectation only arises in relationship to others. So when commitment is fulfilled, the fulfillment fundamentally comes from you knowing that you have fulfilled your commitment. And of course, if other people, acknowledge it, you feel great about it. But primarily it is you generating the fulfillment. You don't depend on others for your fulfillment. And commitment is an act of your consciousness that brings forth a future which manifests solely because of you making that commitment. So you become the creator of your future. And you commit to the idea of fulfilling whatever it is that you want to fulfill. Now, commitment is not obligation. Some people think of commitment like obligation. Mm-hmm. So, mode of living in which we live, which exists at the same level, coextensively with expectation, is a mode of living which we call obligation. I have to do this. So the first stage in moving into commitment from expectation or obligation is to really ask yourself what it is that you want. And initially what you want may be something to do with your ego, but you really tune into yourself. You begin to really realize something much deeper than egological desire. It's almost like your soul's intent. You begin to see that, what you came here for. That is your passion. Mm-hmm. Then when you become aware of your passion, the next stage is to make a commitment. The difference between living in the I want this or this is my passion to a commitment is you eliminate the option of not fulfilling it. So we want many things, and some wants are very deep. The deepest, you can call it the passion. But so long as you're staying at the level of wanting, you have an option not to have it. Commitment is to eliminate all the other options, and you have no choice, no option, but to have that which you want to have. That is a commitment. Now, what happens after you make the commitment? Life is not always easy. The moment you make a commitment, problems start to arise. Mm-hmm. The simple example I always use, you and I used to live in Los Angeles. And when I was at home, congestion in 455, 101, all those freeways made no difference to me. It was not a problem. But if I had an appointment to go to see my clients in some place in downtown Los Angeles, then the congestion became a problem. The moment you have a commitment, all that exists in reality, some of which become your problem. You have to overcome it. So it is not always feel good, easy, but because you have made a commitment, you have eliminated all the options not to have it, you will move forward and overcome all the problems that come along the way. Then what happened is, next stage beyond commitment, or not beyond, but it is within the commitment, is that you begin to love what you're doing. So initially, you don't always love everything you're doing. Definitely. But then somehow your will to fulfill takes over. But eventually, you begin to love it Like, when you began meditating, you made a commitment to meditate every day. Not every day you loved it, but at some point it becomes something that you can truly enjoy. So beyond commitment, again, you become want, loving it. And then next stage is now you do what you have to do. No question asked. But not you have to do, but it is not an obligation coming from externally. But it is obligation in a sense of logic of your commitment. You made a commitment, you need to accomplish this. To do this, there are things you need to do. Therefore, it is no big deal. This is what you have to do. So then you begin to live your life out of your commitment, and you do what you have to do. And when you fulfill it, there is joy. Not because anybody noticed it. And that is a fulfillment. Because you are fulfilled.